Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily Nvidia report for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Before I talk about this chart, I just want to mention, because I sometimes forget, that this week we put out, one stock pick already at wickedstocks.com. Doximity, which is a medical online retailing service, a large cap stock. And today, Thursday, we'll be putting out a stock pick on Snowflake Incorporated. If you're not aware, they're an American cloud-based data storage company headquartered in Bozeman. And so both of those stocks are on the edge of a significant signal. We provide all the specifics, the exact thresholds to clear before initiating a long position, and both show the potential for significant gains over the coming months if those signals are elicited. We also provide near-term 3 to 5 week swing trade targets as well. So you can see that all for free, actually, by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial. You can see Doximity, you can see Snowflake. We also have other stock picks the last few weeks that are still pending and actively being observed. And next week, you'll be able to see our stock picks. You'll also get our daily triple Q and our daily SPY analysis and our weekly Apple stock analysis. I wouldn't trade Nvidia actively without also knowing what the indexes are doing. That is to say, the SPY and the triple Q, or in other words, the NASDAQ 100 and S&P 500 ETF. So there you have it. Go to wickedstocks.com. Take advantage of that 5-day free trial. Nvidia, this chart goes back 2.5 years. It shows the buy signal that occurred 2 weeks ago last Friday above the 150.11 channel top. That is our base of support through August, and above which the 175.51 channel top, a 2-year structure roughly, in reach as a 2 to 3 month objective or sooner, and able to contain quarterly, possibly through the rest of the year, buying pressures. That is the big picture. And on the way up, we've got this trend line at 167.68. We might see that today. Above 165.20, I expect as much. I've revised a little bit our intraday pivot point. I can't ignore this trend line coming off the highs over the last month or so at 165.20 can contain intraday buying pressures, yet pushing through or especially opening above 165.20, 167.68 is likely. That simple trend line off the highs following the April low, well suited to contain daily buying pressures. We might even top out here through the rest of the week and into early next and fall away for a few days, but closing above 167.68 does set up 175.57 by the end of next week. That is the daily chart version of the 175.51 channel top on the weekly chart, where if you've been long for the last couple of weeks, and you might well have been following our buy signal recommendation, you can take profits at 175.51. And I even think if you're adept and accustomed to playing both sides of the market, you can play the short side at 175.51. What does that mean? That means as we're pushing into the mid 170s and testing this channel top, presumably over the coming weeks, you might reach for 150 strike. Out of the money puts that don't expire, I would probably go 4 to 6 months out on that kind of a 1 to 2 month downside possibility. Until then, it was really buying 175 strike out of the money calls that don't expire for 4 to 6 months out following that buy signal a few weeks ago. And so the timing is not right for that just yet, because we are halfway there. But if we close above 167.68, if you're a short-term options player, you could reach for 175 strike out of the money calls that don't expire for a couple of weeks. So that is kind of the big picture. 167.68, our resistance that can contain daily highs, expected today above 165.20. A downside, we've got really this 160.68 channel bottom. Now, this is just a 4-day channel bottom. Oftentimes, I would just call this an intraday support level. But because it correlates well with that high from about 4 days ago, there's a gap in there. I do think that's kind of the aggressive buy for the day itself. 160.68 can be bought It is potentially in reach today below 165.20. 160.68 can contain daily lows. I don't know if this would be a 3 to 5 day swing trade back to 167.68, but it might behave that way. I know there's a lot of lines going on here, but it is 160.68. I also like 160.68 as our downward pivot point into tomorrow. But until then, bullish momentum remains firmly intact above 160.68 over the short-term time horizon. Short-term for me is 3 to 5 days. So yes, you should be long over the 3 to 5 day time frame, and it could be today that we actually reach 167.68. So a 3 to 5 day objective continues at 167.68 above 160.68. Upside once again, if we push through 165.20, 167.68 is likely today. And if you've been long for the last few days or so, the last week, you may cover some of that, take some profits at 167.68. But we are indeed anticipating the mid 170s. Over the coming weeks, as I've already outlined, and closing today, which I don't expect, but if so, above 167.68, we should, by the end of next week, reach our objective in the mid 170s.
If you're finding value in this analysis, it's only a glimpse of what we offer. Your real trading edge starts at wickedstocks.com. Each week, premium members receive 2 high-probability stock picks. Each one comes with a complete trade plan, including exact entry, profit target, stop loss, and regular updates so you can manage the trade with confidence. You'll also get daily video analysis in the top traded markets, the SPY, the Triple Q, and Nvidia, highlighting the key price levels, trends, and trade setups we're focused on. Whether you're day trading or swing trading, these insights help you zero in on the highest quality opportunities with clarity. Try it all free for 5 days. Cancel at any time.
Now for the downside, once again, if we break 160.68, and, especially if we open below 160.68 on Thursday, 156.38 is in reach. And that is kind of a 2-week channel bottom now that I've actually bumped up to a weekly support level. I don't show it anywhere else. I probably should have isolated it so you can really appreciate it, but it is just a trend line across the highs over the last 2 weeks and then intermediate low. I've had it as a session containment level only, but I do think because of the 2-week time frame that it now encompasses, it is a support level 156.38 that may well contain selling through next week. Actually, I do isolate it here on this chart. So, obviously we've got 150.11 all day long as a long-term support. I don't expect to see that unless either A, we test 175.51, and then it becomes kind of a 1 to 2 month objective, or near term, unless we close today, for instance, below 156.38. And that is your 3 to 5 day swing trade to the downside. If we close below 156.38, which is a long shot today, I don't expect it. I do think that if tested over the next few days, and yes, once again, just to remind you that it is considered kind of a 1 to 3 day target. If we close today below 160.68, 156.38 is likely within 1 to 3 days. The 156.38 level able to contain selling through next week, and from here we can round up again. If we close below 156.38, 150.11 is then likely within a matter of 3 to 5 days or less. 150.11 is really kind of a range that begins at 151.33. This is a 6-week channel bottom now that can once again absorb selling through August trade, and above which we remain in this, what I would call kind of a midterm buy signal over the next 2 to 3 months into the 175.51 area. So if I'm just looking at the numbers, let me just re-articulate that 160.68 can contain daily selling pressures, possibly through the rest of the week, and above which 167.68 is likely over the next 3 to 5 days. Upside 165.20 can contain intraday buying. If we push through it, 167.68 is in reach today where a daily high can be placed. We might even top out here into early next week. Closing above 167.68 signals that 174.88. Actually, this needs to be updated to 175.51 where we could top out. Yes, possibly on an annual basis. Downside, and I don't expect this today, but it just might happen. If we close below 160.68, 156.38 is likely within 1 to 3 days. And that is, once again, I'm going to show you right here, closing below 160.68, this 4-day channel bottom. We expect 156.38 probably tomorrow, where we could bottom out through next week, as I say, and above which we should continue on to new highs. Testing 156.38, we can quite easily within 3 to 5 days rotate up to new highs, onward and upward to our overall objective at 175.57. I only expect, once again, a test of the low 150s unless either A, we close over the next few days below 156.38, or B, after testing 175.51, it does become our next longer term, 1 to 2 month downside target. Please click like, share, subscribe, check out wickedstocks.com, take advantage of that 5-day free trial. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with Friday's NVIDIA report. You have a great day.